So, about a week or two ago, I did a video talking about the subject and asking the question of whether or not Luna in season two of Helluva Boss would acknowledge her dad, her adoptive dad, Blitzo, as such. Would she acknowledge him finally to his face, as her father, and allow him to shower her with that affection and all that. And a lot of people online at various group pages came out, and Facebook group pages, that is, came out and said that she already kind of does acknowledge him. If we go back and watch season 2, well, not season 2, but episode 2 of season 2, the way she talks to Octavia about her relationship with her dad, in a way, that's kind of Luna's acknowledgement that she does look at Blitzo as her dad. But that the reason, she prevents herself from, publicly acknowledging it and accepting it is because of her pride and her upbringing in the Hellhound Adoption Agency. And, that part right there is very true to real life when you think about it. It's very true to real life because, depending on your upbringing, whether it's within your own family or within an adoptive setting, that could, basically, kind of make you turn out to be something that, you shouldn't be. Something worse than what, you could projectively be more of, more than what, you could negatively turn into. So I can understand exactly what fans of the show, of the characters, are coming from when they say that. But what's even more interesting is something that happened in episode 2. And Sarcastic Chorus brought this up, even jokingly saying he could get behind it despite maybe the 4.5-5 year age difference, if you will. And I talked about this too in the video, the web recommendation video, audio video I did on him that you could also listen to as a podcast, an audio podcast, just like you'll be able to do with this one. And that is the fact that, age really isn't that much of a big deal. I mean, I even said back when I was in high school, I had friends in both the senior class and my freshman class that were an item and stayed an item to this very day, even got married. And they were like 3.5-4 years apart from each other, and nobody said anything. But as I also acknowledged, times have indeed changed to where that could be looked at as an issue. But I don't think so. I mean, Octavia basically, in Helluva Boss, if she's like 1 month or a couple of months away from being an adult, then what's the issue? There is none. There is none. But that does bring up the question that I also brought up myself. I kind of talked about myself, in that web recommendation video, and that is, what would happen? What would happen? And I think even Sarcastic Chorus brought this up too. What would happen? What would the impact be if Vivipop and her crew decided, hey, let's make things from a storyline perspective more complicated. Let's put Luna and Octavia together as an item. These potential stepsisters, or half stepsisters, if you will, let's make things more complicated by making them an item. Thus, it kind of make the situation, the relationship between the fathers, a little bit more challenging to be had or be accepted, because now their daughters potentially could be in love with each other. Where does that put them? And I think from a story element, a storytelling element, that's a good direction to go in, because Blitzo wants what's best for Luna. He wants to be protective of her. He wants to be affectionate towards her. So he's going to want her to be happy too. So what does he do from here on in if that's the situation? The same with Stellos. What's he going to do? What's he going to do? For Octavia, he always wants his daughter to be happy and everything. So, how is he going to accept this? Again, going in this direction I think would make things really interesting from a storyline perspective. I really do. Because again, as everybody points out, the dads are basically into each other. They're GAY. And because they're into each other and because they had the intimate moment, if you will, it's, you know, it's a situation that if you put something like this into it, if you add something like this kind of a twist, if you will, you know, it's going to make people want to see, you know, what happens next. They're going to want to see the next episodes quicker than they've ever seen them before. They're going to want to see that. They're going to want to pump in money into Vivi Pop's Patreon, into her Kickstarter, whatever you want to call it, to see more episodes. They will. Just based on this kind of a storyline complication. Because again, a lot of fans, even before this meetup happened on screen, you know, always was shipping these two together. You know, not just artistically, but also fan fiction wise. And boy, I can tell you honestly, there was a lot of, I haven't seen it yet, but I can guarantee you, some of the artistic and even fan fiction writing wise, yeah, let's just say they probably, if not indeed, went in directions nobody was against, if you know what I mean. But again, this is something that fans have been, you know, supportive of since basically day one of the series. And they wouldn't mind, and now that they've seen them meet finally officially on screen in person, it just fuels, I think Stochastic Chorus put it best, fuels the fire the fans, you know, have to see this become a reality. But again, the obvious question is, would Vivi Pop and her crew go that route? Because again, you want to get people invested in a story like this, in a franchise like this, for the foreseeable future. You know, doing a complicated story, you know, element like this, storytelling element like this, adding a twist like this, would definitely do. Excuse me, there. Would definitely do it. But the way they work things, I wouldn't be surprised if they decide, you know what, let's do that. Let's make Octavia and Luna an item. Because again, both are trying to, you know, if you follow the show, you hear what other people say about it and stuff. Both are trying to find a place eventually, you know, in the world that they exist in and the outside world that they visit, the outside world being Earth. You know, they're trying to find their places. You know, so what better opportunity for them to find their place and maybe find that someone special than with each other? It would make, you know, a hell of a lot of sense, to coin a phrase. It would. It'd make a lot of sense. And again, from a story element perspective, it would make things a lot more intriguing with this added twist. But the question is, like I said, would Vivi Pop do it? Well, honestly, I think they would. I think they would do it. But I also think not only would they do it to try, you know, make things more intriguing, more interesting, more complicated for the likes of Blitzo and Stellos, but I could also see them maybe doing something that nobody really expects, you know, a show, animated or live action, to do in this manner. I would not be surprised if they decide, you know what, let's have the fathers still be an item, and let's have them be accepting of their daughters being an item, and make a very twisted, and as a result, make a very twisted, you know, very rare, unique, incestual, if you will, relationship between them. I could see that happening. And believe me, if they did something like that, it would get people invested to want to see the series, you know, grow even more. Like I mentioned, it would get people to want to, you know, contribute financially, you know, more so than they've ever had. You know, either way they decide to go. Whether it's, you know, just to make Luna and Octavia an item, to, you know, add a twist to the storytelling and make things complicated with the fathers. Like, okay, how can we accept this? We don't want to break our daughters' hearts and we want them to be happy. What do we do? You know, it can make things interesting. You know, it can make things interesting. Or again, like I said, they can go the route that, you know, is very rarely explored, and that is basically have a very unique, twisted, incestual relationship between the four. And again, I would not put that past Vivipop and her crew to do. I mean, it would be in line with what the show's like, so why not go with it? Why not go with it if you kind of see where I'm coming from? But it is a question that a lot of fans would like to know. Would Vivipop and her crew do it? Would they go out of their way and make Luna and Octavia an item? And would they do it in a way that would make things, from a storytelling perspective, more complicated for their dads? Or do it in a way to where not only do their dads accept it because they want their daughters to be happy, but as a result, the dads can still be together, and it creates that twisted, unique, incestual relationship between the four. I mean, what do you think? I think either way works, especially if you want to get people more invested in what these characters in this franchise, potential franchise, is about. I'm all for it. Either way, I'm all for it. You know, either way. But you know, we'll just have to, you know, wait and see, you know, what they have, you know, what they have in mind. We'll just have to wait and see what they have in mind, you know, as the show progresses. Because the one thing about the show that some fans may feel is a detriment, but others feel is a positive, is it takes time for episodes to come out. Because they're not just created by a huge studio, it's an independent, you know, it's an independent kind of gathering of artists and stuff to make this happen. So, you know, I've got a feeling that as the season progresses and more episodes come out, this is going to be a season, whether it's the last season whether it is the last season, which I don't think it will be, or it's just, you know, leading into a third season. I could see, honestly, this being one that people are going to be talking about for a while, and it's going to be chock full of moments people are going to be just revisiting time after time, even when we go into a potential third season, if there is one. But what do you guys think? Do you think Vivipop would do it, like I said? Do you think they would do it with Luna and Octavia, and either do it to make things storyline-wise more complicated for the dads, or do you think they would do it in a way that's very unique and rare, and thus have a kind of like a full-way, incestual, twisted, unique relationship between the dads and the daughters? What are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments and in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video, hit the notification button to know when more videos and content coming out. Subscribe if you haven't. Also, check me out at patreon.com/BWRoses for the $1, $3 tier. Possible $5 Q&A tier coming very soon. I will let you know when that will happen, if it does. Also, check me out at VENMO at BWRoses for content you can't get here on YouTube. Also, check me out at my Teespring store for merchandise you can get in time for the holiday season, especially some new MLP merchandise. Also, check me out at Venmo at Brian-Schwalmer-2 and Cash App at BWRoses98. Also, check me out at BWRoses Discussions at all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora, where you can get audio versions of some of the YouTube videos I do, including this one, in the near future. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are. How do you feel about it? And until next time, I will talk to y'all later.